Hello all and welcome, and I am the mgtowphilosopher. And in this video, I would like to talk about an article entitled How to Raise a Feminist Son. And it is published by none other than the New York Times, the biggest wipe-your-ass rag on the planet. And this is part 2. You can find part 1 in my video library. So let's just jump right to where I left off in the last video, shall we? So, here is where we left off. Teach your boy to take care of others. And we have a nice picture here, the little boy playing an airplane game. Here comes the food. Zoom, right into his little sister's mouth. And the little sister is supposed to represent the feminine, the male, the masculine, the male taking care of a child, meaning he'll grow up to be a man who helps around the house and does housework and helps his wife take care of the baby. Yeah, even though that's not his job, that's her job. Well, yeah, she really wants him to do her job so she can sit on her ass and eat bonbons and watch Oprah. That's what she really wants, to raise a pussy boy who's going to grow up to be a mangina. Women still do more of the caregiving. Gee, I wonder why. Could it be because 95% of the time they get the kids in the divorce? For children and for older people. For older people, that would be in the vein of somebody who was, say, a nurse working in a nursing home. Aren't those jobs completely dominated by women? But wait, I thought women were all for equality. Why don't you, since you want to raise good male feminists and you want to make everything equal, especially jobs, you want to make all the jobs 50-50, why don't you integrate nursing so that it's not majority women? Because you don't just want equal representation in the highest paying jobs that have the most power in society to influence people like STEM fields, right? You want equality in all the fields controlled by women as well, such as teaching and mental health and nursing, right? No? Oh, I see. And the housework. That's a lie. 93.4% of marriages, first marriages, end in divorce because the woman doesn't do any housework. The man does most of the housework these days. Are you kidding? Because he lives alone. He gets divorced. Who's going to do the housework? Her? She's not there anymore. It's him. The man does most of the housework. He doesn't need your ass. When was the last time a woman did housework? Huh? Leave it to Beaver? Even when both parents work full-time. Bullshit. Data shows. Really? Okay, so I looked at their so-called data, and all it showed was that the woman does more housework, meaning taking care of the child, centered around the child, than the man, where before they had a child, it was more or less equal. Well, yeah, she's doing more child-based activities because she's the one who has the baby and creates the breast milk, you idiots. No difference whatsoever in the modern-day marriage. The woman does no more housework than the man. She does do more in regards to the baby, but they are misleading you when they say that she does more neutral housework. No, she does more housework focused around the baby because she's the one that produces the best breast milk, of course. And this picture is essentially supposed to cuck you into believing that it's a good thing that a boy grows up to want to nurture and take care of the baby more so that the little girl, the woman, will have more free time. Yeah, right. So essentially what the study showed is that she has to do more because she's the woman. And that's stuff the man should be doing. Well, when he grows breasts and is able to produce breast milk, then we'll talk. And caregiving jobs are the fastest growing, and they're all going to be filled by women, of course. I don't see the feminists complaining about the lack of equality in those jobs, though. Oh, no, they don't complain about lack of equality where they are the majority and they benefit. So teach boys to care for others. You mean make boys into socialists? Is that it? Make boys into communists, socialists? Is that it? We want boys to be socialists? Care more about others than you do about yourself. You may care more about me, the woman, and I'll care about myself completely. And you'll care about me completely, too. Okay, that's consistency for you. Talk about how men balance work and family and how sons and not just daughters are expected to care for parents and relatives when they're old. Where are women taking care of the man's parents, okay? If they're your parents, honey, I expect you to take care of them if you got them living in our house. And by the way, I'm taking care of them by working and paying the bills. Oh, but the man who still makes the lion's share of money should be expected to do more. No, 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 no. You should do based on how much you contribute to the household. If you contribute 0 money, you should be doing 100% of the housework. If you got a problem with that, take your ass out of my house and find another man. Of course, I wouldn't live with a woman to begin with, and I certainly wouldn't be dumb enough to marry one, so there's that. Enlist boys' help making soup for a sick friend. Yeah, turn him into a mama's boy pussy, or visiting a relative in the hospital. I don't know what that's got to do with anything. You want him to grow up to be a nurse? I mean, what's that have to do with feminizing him, huh? Oh, I see. You want him to learn to be more nurturing and caring. Give them responsibilities, caring for pets and younger siblings. I love how they try to conflate pets and younger siblings. Yeah, there's no difference whatsoever between giving a boy his first dog and giving a boy his 3-year-old sister that he has to take care of, change her poopy diapers, and feed her. Yeah, no difference there. You gotta love how they conflate totally unrelated things to try and get it to seem okay to turn this little boy, into a caregiver so that later in life he'll be a pussy boy who does all his wife's work. Encourage them to babysit, coach, or tutor. Yeah. Oh, encourage them to babysit. Really? So not only does the woman, of course, this is about single mothers, obviously. You would hope, at least, because if there was a man around, you would hope that he wouldn't let his wife turn their son into a total pussy. But obviously, this article was written for single mothers, okay? Because you would hope, of course, Jesus, this would be hoping against hope, because most men these days are cucked wimps that would probably be perfectly okay with all this crap. But if it's a real man, he wouldn't let his wife do this to the son. Anyway, since it seems like the majority of kids are close to it, at least half and half, it seems like almost. 40% of white women are single mothers, and 70% of black women are single mothers. So, yeah, it's looking like very soon the majority of kids will be raised by single mothers. Yikes. But it's damn near half and half between single and two-parent households now, which is scary. Imagine where it's going to be in 20 years. But, so, yeah, this is really labeled focused on single mothers. Yeah, encourage your son who's being raised by a mommy and no daddy to babysit. So not only do you want him as your son, who's also a kid, to take some of your responsibilities so that you have to do less as a mother. By the way, a job that you signed up for when you kicked out the husband or cheated on him and left him for the Chad or whoever other bad boy you wanted. Now, you have no husband around to raise your kid. You're doing it all on your own, and you chose to do it on your own, but now you want to put some of the burden on your son for your other bastard child. Oh, wonderful. And he has to do your work as well. But not only that, but you want to raise him so he'll grow up to be a good, compliant man like the one you couldn't get. So he'll do his wife's work as well. Yeah, wonderful. One program brings babies into elementary classrooms. What? Which has been found to increase empathy and decrease aggression. You mean decrease aggression in men? Why don't you just say decrease aggression in men? Why are you not saying the word man in that sentence? Oh, you want to make it look like that you're not focusing just on men, that you're trying to help girls be less aggressive too. We're not focusing on boys. We're not saying the boys are overly aggressive because that's all a social construct, and we can't make a statement like that because we're all about everything being a social construct. And if we're saying that elementary school boys are aggressive and girls are not, then we're saying that there's some kind of biology behind that stuff, and it's not a social construct. That goes against our entire narrative. We can't do that. This shit really pisses me off. Hey. Yeah, let's bring babies into classrooms to get rid of that evil, toxic masculinity and make boys into pussies. And by the way, what's wrong with aggression? When you got some evil cunt woman out there running a country or an evil cunt guy, it doesn't matter, and they want to get aggressive all of a sudden. Women, by the way, are more aggressive than men. Okay? It's been proven they're more violent. You don't have to be a man to be a cunt. And by the way, when you've got some kind of person that wants to kick your ass, that wants to hurt you, destroy you, you damn right you better have some aggression in you or you're going to get your ass killed. Aggression can be a good thing. Oh, well, let's destroy aggression and increase empathy. Empathy, which is a very bad thing. Empathy can be good in certain limited situations, but generally speaking, empathy is bad. Acting on emotion is bad. Acting on logic and reason is good. But let's turn these people into pussy cuck manginas who work off of empathy and not their critical thinking and logical reasoning skills. Then we can cuck them, pussify them, and make them unable to oppose us, that being the global elites and our useful puppets, women, in the future. Next, share the work. Yeah, here we have a very interesting picture of a man and a woman holding, I don't know, some kind of basket full of, I don't know, I can imagine, I guess. I don't know what's in there. Maybe wet clothes they're going to put on the line outside to dry. Yeah, who does that anymore? Who has lines outside to put the clothes on to dry? You just toss them in the drying machine, most people. Most people don't have a yard. And what if it's winter, of course? How are you going to put the clothes out to dry in winter? But anyway, that picture's totally misleading because how many of the women reading this have husbands? Most of them don't have husbands because they drove the husband away because they tried to enforce this bullshit, this gender-neutral bullshit. Everything's gender-neutral. You should just do everything. And I'm going to do everything, too. Unless, of course, it's something I don't want to do. Then, oh, no, that's trying to force some kind of gender role stereotype on me, and then I'm not going to do it. So you have to do it as the man because it's not a gender stereotype for you. Yeah, okay. When possible, resist gender roles in housework. Didn't I just say it? Didn't I just say it? It's always housework, isn't it? But women are perfectly fine to do anything else that doesn't have to do with housework. But immediately when it comes to a boring housework, oh, it's so tedious. No, you do it because that's not a gender role for you as a man. Yeah, try to resist those horrible, evil gender roles. And you have the kid looking out the window, and they're trying to portray the sharing of housework as a positive. Yes, raise your son, if you are a woman and her cucked husband, to share all the household work, even if, especially if he brings in all the money. Then have him come home and help his lazy wife, too, and have her do half of her work as well. Yes, you really are a pussy whip, pussified, pussy-ass simp servant of your wife, which is just what society wants men to be. And, of course, let's just make it easier and raise them, indoctrinate them to be so they know what their proper role is when they grow up, which is to serve women, to help women. Of course, not to help yourself. It's not to live for yourself. Oh, no, no, no. You have to help others. You have to live to help others. You have to live to take care of others. You have to sacrifice your life, yourself, your own happiness to serve other people, meaning women, not yourself. No, no, that's evil and selfish. Yes, resist those horrible gender roles. Yeah, they're so evil. Actions speak louder than words, said Dan Clausen, a sociologist. Oh, sociologist. He's a communist. By the way, folks, there is no such thing as a sociologist. Social sciences do not exist. The term social science was created by the Frankfurt School. Look it up. Do some research. That's a 100% fact. The Frankfurt School, the supposed think tank, which is really just an indoctrination center to turn people into leftists, created the term social scientist to spread socialism. So Dan Clausen, a propagandist, who spreads leftism, feminism, basically, at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. If the mother cooks the food and cleans the house and the father mows the lawn and is often gone from home, lessons are learned. Yes, good lessons, correct lessons, that the man is stronger, smarter, has more stamina, and therefore he is the better person to provide. And meanwhile, she's the one that has the babies, breastfeeds, and she, well, is the de facto home taker. She's the de facto person to do the housework because, well, he's out earning the money. He's out doing that work. Whatever's left over, that's for her to do. And that just happens to be the housework, something that, of course, feminists hate because it's so boring. Ooh, I'm so bored. I have to sit home and do nothing but watch TV. Oh, I'm so bored. Yeah, your life is so difficult. Yeah, you're really so oppressed. You know, he's bloodying his fingers up in the coal mine while you're sitting at home nursing a baby. Ooh, The oppression begins when you have that baby. Yeah, your life is so difficult. Please share the housework. I'm not sharing any of the fucking housework. Let me tell you something. If I'm the one that's out cooking, if I'm the one that's out earning the living, earning that paycheck, kicking my own ass, earning that money to take care of you and a baby, you better do the cooking. You better do the cleaning. You better change those poopy diapers. I better not have to do one fucking thing with that child unless I choose to do it. You got that? I'm not picking up a sponge. I'm not picking up a towel. I'm not wiping a countertop. I'm not cooking a goddamn thing. I'm not reheating some old fucking tuna casserole because you were too fucking lazy to cook anything new. So you want me to eat leftovers? No. Your ass better do that motherfucking work. And by the way, if you live in a house where you both work, then you should sit down before you got married, which, by the way, don't ever get married. But if you were fucking dumb enough to do so, so many people are so stupid that they have to do this. And I guess poor and stupid people still have to continue the human race, or at least they think they do. They don't seem to understand they can't have kids without being married. But anyway, if you're fucking dumb enough and you insist on it, you should be sitting down beforehand and negotiating and agreeing on who does what based on who makes how much. Okay? That's how you should be doing it. And if I'm bringing home 100% of money, your ass is doing 100% of the housework. I'm not doing anything with you in the house. I'm not sharing any housework with you. Oh, in the spirit of that, since you want me to share the housework, why don't you come down to my office and do half of my work? Oh, that would be actual work as opposed to the bullshit work that you do that isn't really work. Like, oh, the clothes are so hard to clean as I throw them in the washing machine, and the washing machine does all the work, and I just have to get up for 2 minutes and pull the clothes out and throw them in the dryer that dries them and does all the work. Yeah, your life is so hard. Yeah, this is a really good lesson to teach a man. You're going to go to work and earn the lion's share, if not all of the resources, and you're going to be expected to come home and then do her job as well. And you should be okay with that. Yeah, that's a certain recipe for divorce because you cannot beat the biological imperative. I guess you can try to beat the man out of the man as much as possible, but eventually he's going to get tired of this shit. At least you should hope. And 93.4% of first marriages end in divorce before 10 years is up. So I guess you really can't beat it out of the man. You beat it out of him enough to sucker him into getting married, though, which is exactly what the establishment wants, so they can steal from him twice. Once by getting him married and being stupid enough to leverage himself to the hilt to buy a house, to buy all this shit for the baby, and to put himself into debt. And yet again when they get divorced, and then he has to pay for 2 households. Yeah, it's all a scam, guys. Never get married. And yes, there's more to the share the work category. Also share some of the breadwinning. Wait, what? Men raised by mothers who worked for at least a year around the time their sons were teenagers were more likely to marry women who work, one study showed. So men are not supposed to be interested in women who want to be housewives. Is that it? Is that it? Also, feminism shows its true colors here. Feminists really hate women who want to be like women, who want to actually be women and do their gender roles, that want to participate in their assigned gender roles. The gender roles, which, by the way, are not assigned by some society that doesn't exist, by some preconceived notions about what it means to be female. These are gender roles which were assigned by natural selection, by evolution. I didn't choose them. You didn't choose them. Millions of years of evolution chose these roles that women freaking hate. So they don't even want to in any way promote being a real female, and they want to encourage guys to marry other guys. Yeah, don't marry a woman. Marry a man-woman. Marry a female who really acts like and wants to be a man. Yeah. Oh, boy. Doesn't that sound wonderful, being married to a man that looks like a woman? Oh, boy. Short hair and fat ass and all. Another found that sons of women who work for any amount of time before age 14 spend more time on housework and childcare as adults. Yeah, because there's more housework to do, because the bitch mother is working and not doing the housework she's supposed to be doing, so he has to pick up the slack. That's just wonderful. I'm going to have kids, and then I'm going to lay off the job that I'm supposed to do on my kid and create more burdens for him and pussify him more in the process. Yeah, that's real responsible of you mothers, single mothers especially. Yeah. Men who were raised by employed moms, single moms, they're employed because they have to be, or because they are selfish cunts who married a cuck pussy man who would let them work because, oh, she wants to fulfill her dream of having it all, a career and children, or they're just very poor, which is oftentimes the case. So they both have to work. And they got married too young and didn't make any plans. Men who are raised by employed moms are significantly more egalitarian in their gender attitudes. I thought they were going to say gender studies. Might as well say that. Egalitarianism, people. Let me explain something to you. Egalitarianism is a school of philosophy that teaches equality, total equality of the sexes. Egalitarianism is just feminism, said Kathleen McGinn, a professor at Harvard Business School. Yeah, let's raise our boys to be egalitarian, pussy-whipped feminists who do the work that the woman should be doing and the man's work as well, even though there's not supposed to be any gender roles. Yeah, oh, and there's not supposed to be any gender roles when it comes to her gender roles. When it comes to his gender roles, oh, gender roles absolutely exist, and he can't stop doing those. No way, no how. Yes, the social deconstructivism only exists when it comes to her gender roles. The man's gender roles, oh, well, those absolutely have to continue. He absolutely has to continue being the protector, the breadwinner. Absolutely. Next, encourage friendships with girls. Well, of course, this article says that because women benefit from having male friends. Men don't benefit in any way from having female friends. Women are not smart enough to benefit. They're boring. We don't really want to be friends with them. And by the way, the only way a man could ever be friends with a woman is if she's fat and fugly. If she's ugly, unattractive, easy peasy, no problem. But if she's attractive, no way. And even in some cases, when they're fat and fugly, you still want to bang them even then sometimes. Not me, but some guys. So really, it's almost impossible to be friends with a woman. But of course, it's good for them because men are good at solving problems. Men are good at analyzing things. And, you know, men are good at being emotional tampons. Better than women, it would seem. So, yeah, sure. Women benefit from having male friends. Of course, it makes them feel special, too, because all you really want is to bang them. And so you follow them along around like a puppy dog, and it makes them feel special. It makes them feel like they are, well, special. But of course, you know, that's all it is. You know, you'll never get to bang them. I mean, once you've been put in the friend zone, that's it. You're not getting anywhere with her. I mean, you might pathetically hope that some night you might get her drunk, or, you know, her most recent bad boy that she keeps dating and breaking up with, who isn't you, the nice guy, hurts her feelings or breaks up with her, and then she's sad and needs a shoulder to cry on, and you hope maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to get some sex with her when she's in that pathetic state. Of course, the truth is that you, being friends with her, just hoping that you will get some sloppy seconds after she's broken up with the boyfriend. Yeah, you're just hoping against hope that that'll happen. That really makes you pathetic. Research at Arizona State University found that by the end of preschool, children start segregating by sex. Yeah, because one are boys, one are girls. So what? And this reinforces gender stereotypes. I love this shit. Did they ever stop to think, these social constructivist idiots, that these stereotypes exist for a reason because they're representative of actual fact? Oh, no, it can't be that. These stereotypes were just social constructs, nothing more. No. That's not symptomatic of the reality of the situation. No, that can't be the case. But children who are encouraged to play with friends of the opposite sex learn better problem solving and communication. Yeah, okay. Even if that was true, which I'm not acknowledging, that doesn't mean you'd be friends with them. And by the way, when you're little kids like this, you can have... This is very interesting, okay? I remember I had a friend when I was a kid. Little kid, used to play games on the playground. I remember. This was fucking 45 years ago or something. This was a long friggin' time ago. So, yeah, at that young age, when there's no sex involved, 5, 8, 10 years old, yeah, sure, okay, maybe you can actually be friends with girls. It can happen, but you don't force it to happen. Yeah, it does happen that boys have friends, girls that they're friends with. So most boys and girls think the other sex are icky. That's natural. Ay. There are exceptions to the rule, of course, at these young ages, but even then, they're exceptions. They're not the rule. Trying to enforce something that's different, that is not natural, as the rule is stupid. Of course, it serves their agenda of making boys into pussified, cucked wimps who essentially make themselves available to women. And by the way, this serves women later on in life. Not only can they have that emotional tampon, but they can have a guy that'll take them out for drinks, take them out for dinners, and pay for everything. Yeah, this is all self-serving for women. The man doesn't get anything out of this. Tell me, as a man, how you benefit from being friends with a woman. Do 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 do. I can't come up with anything. That's about my best impression of the Jeopardy music as I could come up with. Anyway, to continue, the more obvious it is that gender is being used to categorize groups or activities, the more likely it is that gender stereotypes and bias are reinforced. What? But isn't that all you people do? Isn't that all you intersectional idiots do, is categorize people by gender or their race, and then reinforce those stereotypes? But that's what you do. I love this shit. There's the cognitive dissonance is at 280% here. And it's burning my retinas how obvious it is. But they don't see that they're totally contradicting themselves. Hello, you idiots teach intersectionality, which is all about categorizing groups by their gender or their race and putting people into these categories based on gender and race. You're the ones creating the stereotypes, not us normal people, you idiots. Said Richard Favs, director of the University Stanford School, which studies gender and education. Oh, God. Studies gender. Stanford School? Left-wing think tank alert. Left-wing think tank alert. Anything that has to do with gender studies should not have the word education included in the sentence, unless you're talking about re-education or propaganda. Goes on to say, organize co-ed birthday parties and sports teams for young children. Oh, my God. First of all, let's get something straight here, okay? Boys are going to spend most of their time with boys. This has always been true. It was true a million years ago. It's true today. Men would go out to hunt. The men would go out to gather. They would go out together. They would spend all their time outside hunting, gathering, working. They would spend the least amount of time back at home in the cave. It would make sense that they would have to learn to get along with guys as well as possible. The same is true today. Most men spend most of their time with other men, competing with other men in the workplace, working with other men in the workplace. Okay? It's only in very recent history that the man spends more time at home than he does out trying to earn a living and produce enough resources for his family, okay? So, yeah, he has to learn to get along well with boys. And by the way, that's true today, too, even though he's spending more of his time at home. He needs to understand and know how to compete, be around, compete, jockey for position with men, because that's reality, because that's what he's going to have to be doing in this world. Now he has to do it against women as well, but that's artificial. Competing with other men is real. Not the fake bullshit where women are trying to chop men's legs off to make us all equal height. Women can't compete with us. Other men can. We have to know how to get along with other men better. And by the way, we share a lot more in common with them than we do with women, with girls. And yes, while I will admit it is important to learn how to get along with girls, we do. We learn how to. We're smart. We're analytical. We're problem solvers. We understand women a hell of a lot better than they will ever understand us because we are men and they are women. They don't have our intellect or our analytical capabilities. Organize co-ed birthday parties. But boys that age don't generally want to hang around with women, okay? And sports teams? Yeah. Oh, you're perfectly fine, of course, with everything being equal and creating equal representation in things where it's only going to be only boys. Sure, but when it's mostly you're only girls, no. So children don't come to believe it's acceptable to exclude a group on the basis of sex. You mean like women do? As they don't fight for equal representation in the areas in society, in the workforce, where they are unequally represented? Oh, well. They don't want to talk about that, said Christia Brown, a developmental psychologist, another woman who's in the mental health field, an almost totally female-dominated field. Hey, honey, why aren't you fighting for equality in your field? Huh? Don't like men? Not good at getting along with men? Huh? A developmental psychologist at the University of Kentucky Try not to differentiate in language either. One study found that when preschool teachers, yeah, we got to cook these kids early. We got to cook them early. We have to teach them the right viewpoints early, as early as possible. Preschool, yeah, that's where we need to do it. Excuse me. Teachers said boys and girls instead of children. The boys held stereotypical beliefs about men and women's roles and spent less time playing with one another. What are you talking about? This is leftist mumbo-jumbo nonsense. Boys and girls. That's what they are. And by the way, the things that you teach in terms of intersectionality, that teach about intersecting. It also teaches about excluding one group from another. This group has certain traits which this group does not. All these people should believe this. All these people should believe that. Only this group suffers this indignity. This group suffers that indignity. Geez, it sure sounds like what you're doing is segregation. So by your own logic, you should be separating these kids and putting boys in one classroom and girls in another, not trying to be all inclusive and make boys and girls somehow the same. And by the way, I would actually have no problem, and I think it would be good for schools if they separated boys and girls. Then you would get people, well, theoretically, you should get people who are specialized in boys' education and girls' education, because boys and girls learn differently. Oh, we can't have that. We need to feminize the boys. So we need to focus on teaching girls and teaching girls the best way they can learn. And thereby men fall behind. And then we teach them all this feminist crap and turn them into eunuchs. Yes, they spend less time playing with one another. Oh, that's so horrible if that happens. Yeah, we can't have kids, boys, not wanting to play with inky girls. Jesus Christ, I remember 40 years ago, I didn't want to play with inky girls either. For the most part, anyway. Boys who have friendships with girls are also less likely to think of women as sexual conquest, Mr. Porter said. What the hell? What does that have to do with anything? First of all, now we're talking about kids, all right? So boys who have friendships with girls are less likely to think of women as sexual conquest. Show me the evidence, Mr. Porter said. Bullshit. But who cares? Who cares? You say that's a bad thing. I see, because we're not supposed to objectify women, and if we have closer relationships with women, we'll see them more as people and less as objects. Yeah, that hasn't been working out very well for the past 70 years, for the past 100 years, since women got the vote, since they were supposedly emancipated and freed, all that suffrage crap. Society has gone downhill, pal. How's that working? How's that working? This seeing women as equals and friends. That's not working too well, pal. I don't look at your fancy-sounding words, your ideals, your ideology. I look at the outcome, and the outcome sucks ass. Moving on. Next. Teach no means no. Yeah, because us men, we're just a bunch of sex-starved, sex-crazed animals, and we don't know what no means. And by the way, isn't this supposed to be about teaching little kids or boys to be feminists? Not about trying to shame grown men. Of course, kids these days are having blowjobs at age 10, 11. So, yeah, maybe this is relevant. Who knows? Other ways to teach respect and consent require children to ask before they touch one another's body as early as preschool. What? What is this nonsense? All you're doing is teaching kids about sex if you do that. And it's child abuse to be teaching kids things like sex and consent laws and all this shit at like 3, 4 years old. That's child abuse. Require children to ask before they touch one another's bodies. What are you talking about? There's no sexualization among little kids at age 3 or 4 years old. They have no idea of the concept. And by the way, girls don't have developed bodies. They're all that different than a guy's, minus the cock, of course. But no breasts, no developed body of a woman. I mean, the kids that age don't have any concept of sex or sexual relations until idiot parents force their hang-ups on their kids. Also, teach them the power of the word no. Oh, there you go. Yeah, the word no has power. Yes, ladies, you can learn how to deny sex to a man in exchange for gifts, money, control over him. Teach it young. Teach it as early as preschool. Stop tickling them or wrestling with them when they say it. Stop tickling who? What are you talking about? What are we talking about? How many kids are tickling each other or wrestling with other girls at preschool? I mean, maybe, but I think generally they just avoid each other or throw shit at each other. I mean, I don't see that happening. Maybe they're talking about the fathers. Let me tell you something. I have a daughter, I have a son. I'm going to tickle them. I'm going to wrestle with them as much as I fucking want. Okay? Fuck you. Model healthy problem solving at home. Children's exposure to divorce or abuse has been linked to poor conflict resolution. You know what the only abuse is? You exposing these kids to these grown-up adult scenarios. That's the abuse. You leftist idiots exposing these kids to things like consent and sex talk at 3 or 4 years old. Linked to poor conflict resolution. Future romantic relations. Linked by who? Show me the studies. Show me the studies. And by the way, yeah, I would admit that children's exposure to abuse has been linked to these things. But what I'm talking about is show me the links between kids playing around and wrestling or having fun at 3, 4 years old, or playing around with their father or whatever, roughhousing, and difficulty in future relationships. Oh, you can't? There's no causal relationship between those two because those things aren't abuse, even though you're trying to represent them as abuse? Oh, I see. Yeah, that's the left. That's the left for you entirely. Make everything that is traditional, that is wholesome, into something evil and deviant. Said W. Bradford Wilcox, a sociologist. Sociologist, just another leftist. Sociologists are nothing more than social scientists. Social scientists are not a real thing. Social scientists were created by the Frankfurt School and director of the National Marriage Project at the University of Virginia. He's a fucking moron. Moving on. And that is the end of part 2 of How to Raise a Feminist Son, published by the New York Times. A comprehensive manifesto of how to turn your son into a woman-serving pussy. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments section, and please like and subscribe, and also donate to my Patreon if you feel so inclined. You'll find a link both in the description of this video and the last 20 seconds. And stay tuned for part 3, which will be coming soon. I am the mgtowphilosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.